The champagne flute slipped from Victoria Chen's fingers, crystal shattering against marble as the gilded ballroom spun into darkness. In that moment, the woman who'd built a tech empire worth $800 million, who'd graced the cover of Forbes 3 times, who never showed weakness, collapsed. She woke to the smell of motor oil and rust. Victoria's eyes fluttered open to corrugated metal ceiling panels, fluorescent lights flickering overhead. Her designer gown, a $15,000 Valentino, was covered with a stained mechanic's jacket that reeked of gasoline. The sounds of the charity gala, the classical music, the polite laughter of Manhattan's elite, all of it had been replaced by the distant hum of traffic and the creaking of old machinery. "You're awake," a small voice barely above a whisper. Victoria turned her head, wincing at the pounding in her skull. Beside her sat a little girl, maybe 7 years old, with tangled dark hair and eyes too wise for her age. She wore a faded purple sweater, with holes in the elbows, and clutched a worn, stuffed rabbit. "Where?" Victoria's throat felt like sandpaper. "Where am I?" "Papa's garage," the girl said, offering a plastic cup of water with both hands as if it were made of gold. "You fell down outside. Papa brought you in. He said you were sick." Victoria struggled to sit up, her mind racing through possibilities. Kidnapping? Robbery? But no, her diamond earrings were still in place, her Cartier watch still on her wrist. She took the water, her hands trembling, and drank. The garage was small, cluttered with tools and auto parts. Through the open bay door, she could see it was dark outside. How long had she been unconscious? She reached for her clutch. Gone. Her phone nowhere to be found. "I need to call someone," Victoria said, her CEO voice returning. "Where's your father?" "He went to get medicine for you," the girl replied. "I'm supposed to watch you." "My name is Maria." "Victoria!" She forced a smile, trying to mask the panic rising in her chest. Every minute away from her company was a crisis. She had a board meeting tomorrow morning, a merger to finalize, emails that couldn't wait. Maria scooted closer, her rabbit dragging on the oil-stained concrete. "Are you a princess? You look like one from my book." Despite everything, Victoria almost laughed. A princess. She'd been called many things, ruthless, brilliant, ice queen, but never that. "No, sweetie, I'm just someone who went to a party. Papa says rich people go to parties while we fix their cars." Maria said it without bitterness, just stating a fact. "He works hard. Every day, even when his back hurts." Victoria looked around the garage with new eyes. The tools were old but meticulously organized. The workbench was clean despite the grime. This wasn't just a garage. It was someone's entire livelihood, hanging by a thread in a world that didn't care about small businesses anymore. The bay door's bell chimed, and a man entered carrying a paper bag from a pharmacy. He was in his 40s, wearing work coveralls, his face lined with exhaustion that went bone deep. When he saw Victoria sitting up, relief washed over his features. "Thank God," he said in accented English. "I was going to call ambulance, but no phone on you." "No ID, nothing. I didn't know what to do." "You brought me here?" Victoria asked. He nodded, setting down the bag. "I was closing shop. You collapsed right outside in the alley. I couldn't just leave you in the street." "This city," he shook his head. "People walk by everything." Victoria knew he was right. She'd walked by plenty herself. Always too busy, too important, too late for the next meeting. "I'm Miguel," he continued, pulling out bottles of electrolyte drinks and pain medication. "This isn't hospital, but I thought maybe you just need rest." "You were breathing okay?" Heart was steady. "My wife, before she passed, she had same thing. Low blood sugar, stress. The doctor said—" He stopped, catching himself. "I'm sorry." "You probably have fancy doctors who know better." The words hit Victoria like a physical blow. This man, who clearly had nothing, had spent his own money on medicine for a stranger, had stayed to make sure she was safe, had sent his daughter to watch over her. "When did your wife pass?" Victoria asked softly. Miguel's eyes grew distant. 2 years ago, cancer. We had no insurance that covered it all. I sold everything, but... He looked at Maria, who was pretending not to listen. "We do okay now. We survive." Victoria's chest tightened. She thought of her own mother, who died when she was Maria's age, who'd worked 3 jobs to keep them housed and fed, who'd never asked anyone for help, even when they desperately needed it. She'd forgotten. Somehow, in the climb from poverty to penthouse, in the transformation from Victoria Chen, the scholarship kid, to Victoria Chen, the CEO, she'd forgotten where she came from. "The medicine," Victoria said. "How much did it cost?" Miguel waved his hand dismissively. "Doesn't matter. You needed help." "It matters to me, please." $43, he admitted quietly. $43. Victoria spent more than that on a single cappuccino at her favorite cafe. She'd spent $500 on appetizers at tonight's gala without blinking. Meanwhile, this man had given up money he probably needed for groceries, for his daughter, for the business that was barely keeping them afloat. "Maria," Victoria said, "does your papa's garage have a name?" "Miguel's Auto Repair," the girl announced proudly. "Papa can fix anything." Victoria pulled off her watch, the Cartier that cost $35,000, a gift she'd given herself after her last acquisition. "Miguel, I want you to have this. Please, you saved my life tonight." His eyes widened. No, I can't." "You can. You did more than save my life. You reminded me of something I'd lost." Her voice cracked. "My mother would have done exactly what you did. She would have helped a stranger without thinking twice, and I'd become someone who wouldn't have stopped." Miguel stared at the watch, then at Victoria, understanding passing between them. "I'm giving you more than this," Victoria continued, her mind already racing with plans. "I'm going to make sure Maria has a college fund. I'm going to invest in your business, no strings attached. And I'm going to change how my company operates. We've been crushing small businesses like yours with our automated services. That ends now." "You don't have to," Miguel started. "Yes, I do." Tears streamed down Victoria's face, smearing her makeup. "I have to." Maria moved closer, placing her small hand on Victoria's arm. "It's okay to cry. Papa says crying means you're brave enough to feel things." Victoria pulled the little girl into a hug, this child who had nothing but gave comfort so freely. Over Maria's shoulder, she saw Miguel wiping his own eyes. 3 weeks later, Victoria stood in that same garage, now expanded, newly equipped with a sign reading Miguel's Auto Repair and Community Service Center. The space would offer job training for underprivileged youth, free car maintenance for struggling families, and scholarships for children like Maria. But more than that, it represented something Victoria had lost and found again, her humanity. The board had questioned her decision to divert company resources to community programs. Wall Street had criticized her new soft approach. But for the first time in years, when Victoria looked in the mirror, she recognized the woman staring back, her mother's daughter, who understood that true success wasn't measured in millions, but in the lives you touched. Maria ran up, still clutching her rabbit, and grabbed Victoria's hand. "Will you come to my science fair?" "I wouldn't miss it," Victoria promised. Because some appointments, she'd learned, were more important than any board meeting. Some wealth couldn't be counted in dollars, and sometimes fainting in an alley was the best thing that could happen to a woman who'd forgotten how to fall and how to let others catch her.